For this haircut, we're going to do what's called a Princeton. This is a haircut that's been real popular since the 1950s and has been pretty much popular right up until today. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the hair longest towards the front, just so he has a little bit of hair just to kind of comb forward or comb to the side. And then we're going to do a pretty close fade on the sides. And then as we get around to the back, we're going to completely cut the crown off with our largest clipper blade. We're going to buzz right over it and blend it into the front. Again, the front being the longest part of the haircut. And then we're going to taper him down really close, about a 1 finger width around the outline of the haircut to really taper out that tail and give him a nice taper. So as I said, this haircut is called the Princeton. It's a real popular haircut today. And you're going to see a nice contrast on this haircut because we're going to be removing a lot of hair. So the first thing I'm going to do before I start cutting his hair is we're going to shampoo him and condition him so the haircut will be much easier. To begin the haircut, we're going to start on the top section here. And what I'm going to do, what I would normally do with this Princeton type haircut is start on the sides and back with the clippers and clipper it up and clipper it over the back. But since he has so much hair here, the clippers are just going to get lost in all this hair. So I'm going to start it out just like any square shaped layer cut. I'm going to go right through the top and scissor it down and scissor it real close here so the clippers are going to go through it pretty easily. So I'm just going to go through and we're going to start to chop down some hair here since we're going to be taking quite a bit of hair off. So best is a scissor over comb technique, a large comb and a large scissor so we can go through a good amount of hair. I'm going to angle the comb downward towards the back because we're eventually just going to shave over the back anyway. So I'm using the center section as my center guide. I can see it in the comb because I'm using a light colored comb on dark hair. So I'm going to take 2 sections on each side. Okay, so go across the top section. Now I'm going to take another section. I'm going to start taking the sections on the right hand side. I can always see the previous guide in my comb from the center. And then I'm going to turn the client towards me and take one more section. Angle that down slightly towards the back. And now in front here, what we're going to do, instead of cutting it straight across in front to make it look like we put a bowl on his head, I'm going to bevel the comb out just a little bit and cut the bangs this way. So what this is going to do is this is going to give us the option of combing the hair either to the side and work with his calyx in front there, or just pushing it straight up and messing it up if he wants to mess it straight up. So I just want to go through and come from the side this way and make sure it's all even in the front. And that is the best way to start our top section. Now we'll move on to the round of the head section and prepare the haircut for going in with the clippers. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is I'd like to remove all this thickness around here and around the back of the hair here where the cowlick is so we can make it much easier. Right now there's too much hair for the clipper to go through. It's going to get caught up in there. We're not going to be able to see what we're doing. So we're just going to take our scissor over comb technique and we're going to round this right into the top. So this is more of a contoured shaped haircut versus a square shaped haircut. So when I say contoured shaped, the length of the hair is following the contour of the hair versus square shaped where we have weight in the corners for the hair to comb back or comb down. So we're going to take this all the way around the round of the head section. And you could use a clipper over comb technique for this also if you want. I do it either way. Yeah, I really enjoy my scissor and comb work. I feel like I have much more control. But again, it's a personal preference. I suggest that you're versatile with either. Because that way, there's going to be times in our career where, you're going to have to use a lot of clipper work and scissor work on the same haircuts. So now you can see as we're working our way around here, we see this area in here is going to be our guide where we're going to blend to when we go in and clipper all this hair out. And a really nice benefit to haircuts like this is when this customer sat down, he made some comments about his cowlicks and how much they annoyed him. And the best part of this haircut is we wind up cutting the cowlicks right down to the point where they don't start to stick up until it's time for another haircut. So this is a very popular haircut for that reason. So again, large comb allows us to control large amounts of hair. And we're just working our way around. And this step doesn't have to be 100% perfect because we are going to be going over a lot of this with our clippers anyway. So we just want to make sure that that hair is feeding into the comb properly, so as that hair is going forward, we're coming against the way it grows. We're going to scissor it right out, scissor and comb right out. So these large combs are a huge benefit for your scissor over comb or clipper over comb cutting. Allows you to control a lot of hair at one time. Okay, so now that we have all that area completed, now it's going to be much easier to go in with our largest clipper blade and go through. So we're going to take our largest clipper, which is our detachable blade clipper. So the actual metal blades come on and off. I'm going to use my largest blade, which is a 3 3/4 blade. Cuts the hair to a 1/2 inch. So this is a great blade to start with. And then I'm going to be able to get an idea, a feel of how short I can actually go. We're not dealing with jet black hair, so any hair lighter than dark black hair is always going to look shorter, so it's best to start out with the largest blade first. So we'll turn our clipper on, put the blade down, and as we get to the round of the head, just past the round of the head, we're going to take an imaginary line straight up in the air. And let that clipper work. And we're going to cut and blend at the same time, so we're not leaving a heavy weight line around the haircut. Okay, we just continue to work our way around and go very slowly. Let your clipper work. Sometimes you have to go in a few different directions. So now you can see here, if we started out with all this hair and we didn't remove the bulk, you can't see the cutting blade. You don't know where you are. But now, since we created a guide for ourselves, there's our cutting blade, and very easily it can blend into that previous section without leaving a heavy weight line. So for more efficient hair cutting, if we can avoid that one area of the haircut that's the most difficult, the blending, it makes men's hair cutting much more efficient and much easier. And the end results are better as well. Okay, so we're just continuing to work our way around. As you see, the hair's growing in all different directions, so we got to go in different directions so we can cut the hair against the grain. That's the way the hair comes off the easiest. When you're dealing with metal blades, they're a lot different than plastic blades, especially when you're coming around the ear. Make sure that you hold that ear down and don't touch the metal blade to the ear, because you're in danger of nicking the customer's ear. Whereas a plastic blade won't do that. These metal blades are very sharp, so you have to protect the ear. Okay, now the next step, we're going to take the 3/8 of an inch blade and we're going to go around the outline of the haircut, but not as high. And this is going to start to taper the hair down closer around the edges. Now, especially when you're dealing with tails like this, it's important that we really get this back tapered out. And if you have to turn the clipper upside down, we can go at it that way. These are the most difficult hairlines when they grow to the center like this and they have a protruding tail. You can always grab the scalp and stretch the skin. That allows you to get in there a little bit easier. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Take the clipper upside down if you have to. Okay, around the ear, remember to hold the ear down. Now the next step is we're going to take our 1.5 blade, which is an 1/8 of an inch blade. We're going to pop that on the clipper. We're going to hold it with the heel of the blade away from the skin and run it over the sideburns. By doing this, run the heel of the blade away from the skin, it lengthens the blade, so it takes an 1/8 of an inch blade and makes it a 1/4 of an inch blade. This way I can do two different things with it. I can use it for a longer blade, and I can start blending to the top with it, so I can do it all in one. And then as I'm working my way around the outline of the haircut, I'm continuing to work on the taper. So now we're going to bend the head down again. Upside down with the blade to blend all that in. If the hair is growing towards the center, come against it with the comb. Pull that hair out so we can blend it in. Okay, and then we're working that around. Okay, and after we finish the finished with the larger clipper blade, while we still have our large comb and the 1.5 blade on here, we can start to blend this finish blending this top section in. And we just shape it with the comb the way we want it. Right with the contour of the head shape. As we come around, we want to trim it down in the crown area so this doesn't stick up too quick. We'd like this haircut to last about 3 to 4 weeks before this area sticks up. That's about as long as this haircut is going to last, 3 or 4 weeks before this area starts to stand up. Okay, and then as you can see right there, all we're doing is we're just angling the comb up so we can blend those hairs there right into the back. And the last step, what we can do is we can turn the customer's head towards you. And what I would do is I would come from the front. Actually, we'll do it this way so you can see. We're coming from the front. And blend it right into that back. And by over directing it from the back, from the front to the back, it layers all that hair in. So it's all the same length, it all blends in. So pick your starting point and follow it until you run into your guide in the back. And if the hair is growing from left to right, you can come against the grain of the hair so you get it in your comb. And there we have it, all blends right in. So now is the point where we can go to the side with it, we can push it up, we can do a lot of different things with it. Just finish that corner. Okay, now with the top being all blended in, we're going to move on to the semi-finish area around the edges. Okay, now we're going to complete the semi-finish and finish areas, which are the 2-finger width around the outline of the haircut. So it's going to really make this stand out is to have that nice tapered outline, where it gradually goes from no hair into the haircut. So one thing with this customer's hair we have to be careful of is he has a high hairline around the ear. So we don't want to get in there and do too deep of a taper because it's going to leave a high arcing white wall around the outline of the haircut. So we just want to do a little bit and leave it alone. Now in the corner here where it's all growing sideways, the only thing we're going to do is take this clipper and just in the direction it grows before we come back with the trimmer. And same thing down here. We're going to completely turn it upside down in the corners, but we want to leave the taper. We're going to use this neck hair to build a corner there. We don't want to round it off. Then in the middle where it grows straight down, we flip the clipper around and we start to taper it out. You can use a little clipper over comb if you have to soften that up where that tail is. And then where the hair is growing straight sideways, we do the same thing again. Then we're going to close the clipper blade halfway. Then we're going to close it all the way. Then we have a few stubborn ones right there. We can just pull down on the comb and taper that out. Okay, and we're going to work our way around. We're going to pull the ear down, take the open blade at a 45-degree angle. And when you pull that hair down, the ear down, you can really see that hair pop out. And then we follow the 45-degree angle through the other temple area. And then we're going to leave it alone. This is a more natural haircut where we're not going to go in and do a deep taper or a deep outline. So with that being done, we're going to pick up the trimmer. Just going to line off the sideburn. Going to pull the ear down, just get a few of those hairs that pop out. And then as I said, we're going to leave it. We don't want to go in and draw an outline because it's going to be too high. So we're going to come back to the corner here. Leave a nice straight line without cutting the taper off. And then shave into it. Okay, and then on the neck, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shave in an upward motion, but we don't want to get near the tapered haircut, the tapered outline. Okay, and when we come on to the other side, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to take and make a diagonal line on the hairline and shave to it. I'm going to pull the ear down. There's not much hair there, just a little bit. I'll line it off. And I think I see a little bit right here. And now I think the haircut is complete. We're just going to do a shave on the neck. He's got a real thick beard on his neck. We're going to use a little bit of moisturizing shaving cream and clean up his neck with the straight razor. So we're going to apply the moisturizing shaving cream on the back of the neck on all the areas that we're going to shave. It's not something you have to do for everybody. Customers really do like this, but especially in this case, he has a very thick, heavy beard. You can still see it, even though I went over it with the trimmer. So that's why we're taking this extra step. Before you pick up your razor, make sure you wipe off your hands. The shaving cream is slippery. Okay, we're going to start out with my backhand stroke. We're going to stretch that skin, palm the head and stretch the skin. Don't let the razor get too far away from your thumb stretching the skin. And this way you get just a nice sharp outline right there along where the edge is. Now in this case the hair is growing straight up in the air. I don't want to take the razor and shave down. We're going to be shaving against the grays, causing ingrown hairs. So we're going to take a reverse backhand stroke and shave up. And this way you won't feel any drag on the razor. If you did it in the opposite direction, it would feel like it was pulling the hair as it was cutting it out. So then back in the center where the tail is, you can switch back to your freehand stroke and shave down. And then in this corner here, it's growing up again, so we're going to switch back to the reverse backhand stroke and shave up. And make sure the skin is stretched, and then as we go back here, it's growing back down again, so we can go back to our freehand stroke and shave down. Okay, we're going to clean him up now. We're going to just blot the shaving cream. This moisturizing shaving cream is also an aftershave balm, so you don't have to completely wipe it off. And I'm going to use a thick paste in his hair, a dry paste. And the nice thing about this haircut is you can style it a couple different ways. We can style it to the side or we can style it straight up. The main thing is we get the product all the way through. And you can just kind of use your hands and push it to the side. That's one way. We could kind of go straight up if you like and just mess it up, pushing it towards the center. Or we could just take like a styling vent brush and do somewhat of a combination. You brush it forward, so it grows in a circle around his head, forward into the side and then just kind of up just a little bit in front. If you want to go with a little more formal look with a suit and tie or something. So there you have it. That's what we call a Princeton, which is a very versatile haircut. And we're going to give you a 360-degree view of the complete haircut.